Hello, and we're coming on. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Unapologetic Entrepreneur. Ladies and gentlemen, I am your host, Leonardo Garcia, and today I have two dynamic guests. I say two, but they act as one sometimes. You guys will know what I'm talking about shortly. I'm going to introduce these friends of mine. All right. I know them for quite a while. And they're a dynamic duo. Today, we're going to talk about entrepreneurship versus relationship. Like, can you really work together and be involved? So, we're going to have our version of power moves and pillow talk. I love it. Power moves and pillow talk. That is today's episode, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're ready because we got a doozy. I have Miss for those of you that are out there, they're going to watch this later on replay and you're going to say, how do you say her name? Think about being honest and just add a V. Veonous. It works. Veonous. It rolls right off the tongue. Veonous. We have Veonous, and it's not Auguste. It's August.
Yes.
Veonous and August. Almost like Itchy and Scratchy. We're ready, baby. Ladies and gentlemen. These two are, I look up to them so much, not only in business, but the way they carry themselves with such professionalism. And before I go and start actually just talking off the hip and giving you guys like some questions, I want them to introduce themselves because there's so many layers to this onion, ladies and gentlemen. You guys are going to learn today. I can introduce them so many different ways with all the talent that's in this couple right here. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves and let them tell you who they are. So this might even start a battle. Let's see. All right, guys. Let's see what they do. All right, guys.
She goes first. No, you go first. You want to flip?
Oh, God.
This is real, guys. This is real. Oh, God.
Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I am Veonous Jacques. I am the proud wife of Auguste Jacques.
Proud.
I am his helpmeet.
Me.
Anyway, I just a little bit about my background. I thought education was my way to success as a child. I pretty much asked my mom when I was 9 years old, who made more money, a teacher or a lawyer? And of course, she said, a lawyer. And although I am gifted to teach, I decided at 9 years old I was going to go to law school and become a lawyer. And I did. Went to boarding school for high school, went to an Ivy League college, and then went to law school. And realized quickly that I did not like the practice of law. And so while the skills are invaluable, I use the skills for business. And August and I, we tend to use our separate skills. I can do a lot of consulting for business, coaching, but we use them for our business. That's just a little bit about me. I am a mother and a grandmother.
That's it.
That's enough for now.
You left out a lot. Here we go. All right, people. Good afternoon. My name is Auguste Jacques. I am the proud husband of soulmate Veonous. Where can I start? When I first started out, I was a class clown. I basically skated through school, had the ladies do my homework, right? And then I realized that even though I love school, I really didn't focus. I have to say that going through life, that's when I basically sort of value of education. So I learned a lot through the ups and downs. I am a father, friend, consultant. I started my financial journey as being a stockbroker to unbeknownst to me, the Wolf of Wall Street. So I kind of plugged that there. So I know questions are going to come from that. Then I realized that my conscience wouldn't allow me to be in that game. So I left. So I started my own consulting business, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, you name it. Fast forward, I met Giannis, wasn't looking, but the brain just attracted me. And since then, we've been looking at different opportunities. We prayed, and then we came together, started our first company 13 years ago. And, it's been a journey, but all I can say is the ride is awesome. I wouldn't change it. So I'm going to stop right there.
All right.
And go for it.
All right. All right. So you were both entrepreneurs before you were together, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So let me ask you just to warm things up. Well, first let me say, hey, what's going on? Mark Tarillia, coach, is on the line. And how you doing, Takira? I'd love for you guys. Thank you. Feel free once again, if you're here, to just pop up a question. We'll bring it up. But thank you for always showing your support. Let me ask you, being entrepreneurs, both of you, how did you meet? Because you were in different fields, right? Like you were doing something different and she was doing something different, I'm assuming.
Absolutely correct. At the time, I lived in Montclair, New Jersey. For about, I used to live in New York City, Upper West Side, moved to Jersey, better cost of living. So at the time, I went to a business conference that had to do with mortgages. And then the joke is that she was walking in front of me, and then she passed her pheromones to attract me, that's how we met.
That's how you met. Okay. So be
Yes.
honest, what's your side of the story?
At the time, I was working with a biomass company, and the CEO of the company, I've done a myriad of things in my life. The CEO of the company was the one who suggested I attend this conference on mortgages because he knew my experience was very diverse. And he said, I believe this will be a good addition to your portfolio and what you offer your clients. And I went, that was in 2009.
Yes.
And I did not see August. August saw me, but he likes to spin the story his way. And so we met, and I know you did the mortgage.
Yes.
You worked the mortgages for a while. For me, it was good information, but I realized that was not a direction I wanted to go in. And so when we got together, we said, well, let's get to know one another.
Yeah, waited about 3-4 months before I called her.
He never lied. Yes, he did.
I met you in August, but I didn't pick up the phone till what? November?
October.
Yeah.
October.
I was busy.
And he says, "Oh, take my number." And I'm like, why would I take your number? If you are interested, you'll call me. So we both were in the exact same place. We had previously been married.
Yes.
We were not looking. So there was no desperation. And we were also in 2 different states.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Yes, you lived in Philadelphia, and I lived in Montclair, New Jersey.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay, that's interesting. Two different fields, two different state, meet in one place, and look where we are. Oh my Lord, that's a great story. Now, I'm not gonna go through all your history because, like I said, you guys do have a very big history on what you did individually. But I was reading some of your bio, and in your bio, you guys are co-founders of of 3B, yeah, 3BP, correct?
Yes.
All right, so I'm gonna ask you one about that. So keep this in mind. But the question is gonna be, as co-founders of 3BP, which nobody knows what that is that's watching. So I would need you to enlighten us. How do you draw the line between professional disagreements and personal ones? How do you protect your marriage during high stress moments? It's kind of funny. I'm glad that that is one of my first questions because we watch you guys interact, and it's gonna happen eventually because you guys can't help yourselves. Eventually, you're gonna look like the odd couple in a second. It's just you got like a glitch in the matrix. And I'm
Yeah.
curious, how do you does that not escalate in business as entrepreneurs? Do you not let that get into personal? And how do you separate the two? Because I know a lot of, just in my field, a lot of agents that have real arguments with their spouses,
Yes.
and when they work together, it's even worse. It really hurts the business. So how do you control that? What, like, do you have any tips, tools? Like, what is it you do?
Good question. I'm going to be as brief as possible, but be very informative as possible. One, when we started dating, we basically had mutual respect, and we respect each other's intelligence, we respect each other's position, and we respect each other that we will not agree on everything. That's what makes us great, because I do not want a yes woman. I do not want somebody that's behind me. I want somebody that is right next to me. I want somebody that challenged me. And if I say no, then why? If I say yes, why? But it has to be from a place of respect and to really challenge you in the way that you think. Now, do we have disagreements? Absolutely. Do we see eye to eye? No. But that's what makes it great, because then I know if I'm about to do something wrong, I know she's gonna say, why are you doing this? Did you think about it? Why? Let's talk about it. Give me the pros, give me the cons, give me the what ifs. So we made an agreement that, number one, whatever, if we have an agreement, is disagreement. We never argue in public. Never,
Number one, never
never.
argue in public.
I have a poker face. I mean, we could be sitting here right now, and before the call, I would have been like, "Yo, did you give me, a glass of water?" No. I'm like, "Why not?" And next thing you know, it's like fireworks. Like, the honeymooners. Wham bam, right?
Mhm.
But that's the part that you have to understand, that in business, we also have to say, okay, like, time out. When we come home, we have to shut it down and be husband and wife. But sometimes, because we do this 24/7, I mean, I could go 24/7. I mean, I can just talk about it all the time. And she goes, "Nope, and I'm not going to do it. Nope, talk to me tomorrow." Then we get in bed. "Oh, by the way, what do you think about what's happening?" We're like, "Didn't I tell you we're not going to talk about business?" But it's truly, you have to know yourself. You have to be mature in yourself to understand that it's going to be rough. It is a roller coaster ride. Expect the twists, expect the dips, expect the highs, expect the lows. And when it comes, it shouldn't be a surprise.
So my perspective is similar. When we met, I was writing a book at the time, and I write under a pseudonym J.B. Tremont. But the book is called "He Loves You Not: A Common Sense Guide to What Not to Do in Relationships." That's on Amazon, and it addresses what you should not do, because everybody was talking about how to get the man of your dreams. There was magazines that I'm dating myself. There were magazines. This was before the internet was a big thing, where you would always see how to get the man of your dreams, how to date someone, but nobody was ever addressing what you shouldn't do. And my book addressed what you should not do in a godly manner. And so I
Mhm.
already had standards. when you go through some things in life, you realize there are boundaries. So when August and I got together, as we stated earlier, neither one of us was desperate. Neither one of us was actually looking for anything more than a friendship. Just to put into perspective. And while we were able to come together, date each other, combine forces, etc., we realize there are boundaries. That does come with maturity. That does come with wisdom. That does come with a lot of prayer. We, by the time we got to COVID, because we started working in business together in 2013, and that's the business with the technology and the patents. We started working in insurance together, and he convinced me to get an insurance license, which is a whole story.
And it was hard.
In 2015. So by the time COVID came around, we were so used to working together. It wasn't difficult. The boundaries already existed because we knew we had to continue dating one another. We realized that if you allow your children, and we are blended, we have 5 children blended, you allow your children to dictate your relationship. What happens when your children are grown and leave? You have no relationship. So there were certain things that we established. Listen, if the kids come to you separately and you're going to have your relationship with your children, I'm gonna have a relationship, even though they're combined, they're gonna come to you, but don't let them divide us. Hold on a second. Okay. And we're talking about children. 2 of our grown children just came in and they're talking in the background. So if you allow them to come between you, it causes a problem. So we always have the discussion with each other about our kids. We know they're going to ask for money. That's expected. These are things that we know. So we're not jealous of the relationship that each of us have with our children. We recognize that we have the boundaries even with ourselves. And August had a rule. He says, I will not argue with you in the moment. If there is something and you're upset about it, or I'm upset about it, let's take some time. Let's evaluate, and then we'll come back. And that was actually a harder challenge for me because I was from the school of addressing it right then and there. So I've had to learn to pray about it and allow the Holy Spirit to let me know when to bring it back up.
That's interesting. So basically the way you make everything work out is through boundaries. That's your main thing, is you guys really set boundaries at the very beginning of how long you guys been married now?
2012? Yes, 2012.
Which means how many years?
We've been married 13 years. We've known each other 6 years.
Look at that. He was trying to see if he's going to get a bonus today.
Yeah.
So, yeah. You lucky she didn't ask you, because you would have had a problem.
Oh, no, he gets the dates right. I'm the one who messes it up.
Oh, okay. That's different. Okay. So here's the thing. You guys got your own specialty, right? It seems, and you correct me if I'm wrong, August seems to be, well, according to your background as well, you're more of the numbers guy, and she's more of the law technician person, right? Is that about accurate, just to keep it simple?
No.
Oh. Okay, I'm just going by bios. You did everything.
No.
According to what you did for work.
It's not a blanket no.
Okay, I mean,
go ahead.
Why don't we just say that we take turns? And
that's part of the question. My question was going to be, so who's in charge? Because, hey, you guys mentioned biblically, and you started talking the Bible and stuff. So, at home, be honest, I'm assuming you're submissive. Now, how do you bring that boldness and get yourself? August's eyes just rolled.
No, because we had that conversation before, and there is no, and if somebody truly understands biblically what that means, it's not being submissive.
Okay, I disagree with that.
Okay, you do?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, you mean so I'm in charge?
You're in charge.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Okay.
It's being recorded?
Okay. No. But it's my pleasure to submit. He's in charge. It's my pleasure. We have our roles. When it comes to our marriage, I married somebody who is capable of telling me no, and I needed that. Okay, because I'm very strong-willed. So when he came to this, we already had the discussion. You have to have the ability to say no. Yes, you can't agree with everything that I'm saying. I think I'm right most of the time, right? And even when I'm right, I could still be wrong. So it is my pleasure to submit. When it comes to business, the dichotomy changes a bit. Yes, he's CEO and I'm COO. And so as CEO, he still makes decisions, but we are a team. We are partners. We are doing this together. So we do not agree on every little thing. And in the same way where I know the law, August also knows the law, and he brings it to, he'll research the law. In the same way August knows finances, most of the time I'm the one who is reviewing the budget and going over the details of the budget. So, because my perspective is men are very macro. You guys are visionaries. You have the big picture. As a woman, I'm very micro. I'm like, okay, I know you want to go to the moon. Now, these are the steps we need to take to get to the moon.
Okay. We got a question here. We brought
Yes.
the kids in. Mr. Mark Tarulia asks, speaking of kids, as two entrepreneurs, how do you approach raising your children? Do you treat them equally, or do you tailor your approach based on their individual needs?
Okay, I'm going to answer that question twofold, from a family perspective and a business perspective. No, they are not equal, because each child is different. That means that your oldest one has one need, your middle child have another need, and the third one, etc., etc. So you have to understand your children to understand how to interact with them and to basically think ahead of what they're going to think. I take the approach, before I talk to you, I have an idea what you're going to say, so I am prepared. But at the same time, I'm man enough to say, you know something? I don't know. Let me find out. As a matter of fact, what do you mean by that? Explain to me. Let's come to a decision together. Because we found out that if you always come across as being the party that's in charge, then your child will be very afraid to come and speak to you. Mm-hmm. So you got to use wisdom to say, okay, why do you mean by that? How did you come up with that conclusion? Where did you get that belief? How can I help you? Okay, let's come to a decision together. Because I might be your dad, but I may not know everything. It's my job to guide you, but at the same token that you have to walk your own path. So that if you transfer that to business, being a leader, yes, they know you're the leader, but they're also looking for you to lead them, not to all of a sudden have them follow you blindly.
That's good.
Like
and wait, and also,
you like that? Okay, good.
And also, kids are very smart. Kids are very smart. If you don't think your children are smart and they're trying to figure out a way to get around whatever boundary or rule you set or try to manipulate a situation, you have not been a parent long enough. Just live a little longer, right? Because each child will
push a button.
Yeah, push a button in a different way. They'll provoke a situation. So we have, we'll just use the youngest one for an example. We would say, don't do something. Don't bring your Yu-Gi-Oh cards to school, right? And he's 22 now. So he comes into the room one day and he says, this is elementary school, I'm ready for school, check me. Now we're like, now why would he tell us to check him? So August pats him down. He's checking him. It's all the way to the end of the sleeve, and Yu-Gi-Oh cards are in his gym uniform with a rubber band at his wrist. Kids are smart.
But you got to be smarter.
Yes, you do.
Now, there was a question from Marshall about Deion Sanders and his...
He said he made a comment about it.
He made a comment. And you know something? Whether you make a good comment, bad comment, there will always be somebody that sees something wrong with what you say. But are you there to please other people? But are you there to raise a child the way that the child should be raised? So if I can say, you know something, I make $1 million and I'm gonna buy my child a car for $50,000. Then somebody could say, oh my God, that's it. You should buy him a Lamborghini. And you're like, really? So do not be afraid to be criticized. Do not be afraid where mainstream media is gonna poke fun of you. If you wear a green shirt, people are gonna say, I hate green. You wear blue, people will say, I hate blue.
Well, thank you for that. I got another question for you here.
Yes.
How do, since you guys are always, I mean, literally, you guys use each other's cell phones. That's how together you are. I don't even know if you got separate cell phones. How do you maintain your individual identities while working so closely together? I mean, how do you do this personal space? People talk about it all the time. Like, when does August get his space and Veonous gets hers? Like, how does that work? How does that dynamic work? And how long does that work for? Because you guys are really always together. In entrepreneurship, I wonder, you need to always somehow be connected, but what about when you need to be apart? And if you are apart, will any of you make a decision business wise without the other one present? Twofold question there.
Yes, we do have separate lives.
Yes.
We are not connected by on the hip. Even though she has my rib, I asked for it back, but I'm still waiting. But anyway, that's another story. You know,
you go out with your friends.
I do. I mean,
I'm like, go out. He says the same thing. Our friends call, like, there'll be my girlfriends will go out and we'll go to dinner. We'll do things that women do, and that sometimes we go out as couples. But I tell him all the time, I'm like, oh wait, so and so invited you, go.
yes. So we again, it goes back to maturity, right? I respect her space, and she respects my space. And we don't mind working together because we love each other's company. Now, if you don't, then, that's something that whoever is in that situation needs to talk to themselves about.
And we were friends first. I mean, I like August as a person.
That's interesting.
But I like him as a person. Before we were in a relationship, as we were getting to know one another, we realized we had to be friends. And so if you're a friend with someone and you enjoy that person's company, that's not going to change unless they get on your nerves, and then you need some space.
Okay. Thank you for that, Veonous. Mr. Terrellia, here we go. This is for the COO. Little smiley face. As a woman, what would you need to hear from a man to trust in his vision and feel confident in standing by his side as he takes a leap of faith to pursue his dream and quit a 9 to 5? This is interesting because there's a question for those people that have almost, well, you could be both entrepreneurs or one is, one not. Like, that's a good question there.
That is good. August, okay. So I'm gonna start with August and then I'll go back a little bit. August was always an entrepreneur. I met him and he had his own business. Me, I still worked for other people while I had my own business. So I did both, sometimes simultaneously. And it was August who really convinced me to go full-fledged entrepreneurship. And, but let me just say this. So my ex-husband was a person who, he is an entrepreneur as well. And we did have a business together. And it was a little harder for me to trust him in business because of some of the things that were happening in the household. They do work hand in hand. So we say business is like a marriage and marriage is like business. If you're going to be in business with somebody, understand that if you could not see this marriage working out, don't go into business with them. With that being said, the foundation for me to trust August was already there because of who he presented himself to be before we went into business. Was he a person of integrity? Was he a person of his word? Did he already have a vision? Could he come to me and said, hey, you know, the Lord gave me this? And it didn't start out that way necessarily because he had to be able to trust me with it. So to answer the question, I believe you already have to have the trust in that individual. If it's shaky, whether you're married to the person or not, don't go into business with somebody that you have that big question mark. If it quacks like a duck, it's a duck, you guys. If there are red flags or, I used to use this analogy, I use it in my book, where when I felt like when the Lord gave me my new husband, which is August, I'm like, God, I'm already stupid about who I'm supposed to be with. So unless you come to me like the cartoons and the flashing red lights, you know how Bugs Bunny, it'll be like the light with the arrow and say, this is your husband. I don't want him.
Oh, so you mean I had a halo?
I didn't say that. but to answer your question, I trusted August before we ever went into business together. Because we knew each other from 2009. And although we talked about the mortgages, we did not go into that business together. We still had to prove to each other, one another. When we got to 2013 and the Lord gave us a witty invention, we prayed about that. But look how many years from 2009 to 13. That's 4 years later before we ever went into business together.
Okay. Oh, we got one here about systems because you guys, how many businesses do you guys run? I'm just curious before I get into this. I think they're thinking about, that was a deep breath right there.
5? Are we at 5?
You count them off.
I think 5.
5?
3 together and 2 separately.
So 5 businesses. This is an interesting question here.
Yes.
4.
4.
Excuse me, 4.
4.
Okay, 4.
Now, this question does help with this because they want to know what, this is from Marvin. What systems or habits helped you scale your business while maintaining your relationship? See, this whole thing is about relationships and business. And right now, you guys seem to have a perfect formula. I mean, I'm trying to see where it is.
I'm going to start and she's going to finish. One, you have to have a vision and you must believe in the vision. You must write out the vision. You must be able to explain the vision. And then you must carry out the vision. Even if the other party don't believe in it, you must be the first partaker. Because they're watching you to find out if this is true or is this just another side thing, right? So I'm gonna say I'm gonna do it today, and then a month from now it's something else, right? Because they're watching you to find out, do you truly believe in this, right? So that's the habit. To scale your business, you are not the only party that could run a business by yourself. Just like in a marriage, you're not. I mean, this is not a kind of a scientific, thing that I could be the male and female. You know what I mean? Like, no, it takes 2. So the system is in place that you must know your strength, and now you must be able to allow somebody to complement your strength. So now they can make you complete. Now, let me say this now. I'm not saying I wasn't complete. Oh, no. I'm 100% complete. Because, people say, you complete me. This is my own opinion. I do not need Veonous to complete me. You understand what I mean?
That's a deep comment. Most people think you're coming at her with that comment, but I
understand. No. Listen, I tell her all the time. If something happens to me, I need you to pick up the axe, to pick up the hatchet, and you start killing whoever comes in and try to destroy what we have. So, which means I don't want no weak person like, oh my God, no. Like, I want somebody that can go into battle with me, So if something happens, I know you got it, right? So the system is you must have a vision, write the vision, explain the vision, and carry out the vision. So now when you find somebody that is capable to work with you, now they could listen to it, follow it, and execute. But at the same time, you must be able to do the same thing. Now, in relationship, if you say you love this woman, then you must prove it. That means respect, right? That means she's your equal. That means like, okay, what's wrong? What's going on? How can I help you? What do you mean by that? Hey, Mike, you know something? I got this. I'm cooking dinner tonight. By the way, I cook. But the main thing is, it's like, you know, it is a give and take. Because think about it. If you're not able to work, don't you want her to pick up the pieces? But if you don't show her, how can she pick up the pieces?
That makes sense.
So in a business, yes, you could be the CEO, but if the COO, you know, the secretary, and the person, everybody leaves, how you gonna run a business?
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have a marriage and she says, I'm out, do you have a marriage?
So I'm going to add to it.
So go ahead.
I want to add to the scalability, just on a practical level. We spend time with each business almost daily. If we have a few, we'll say, this is how many hours we spend on this, or we've spent enough time on this particular business, because it's constant. Now we have to shift focus. We've tried it where we'll say, okay, we'll only work on this business Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But what happens if a call comes or a client calls you from insurance and says, hey, I want insurance? So we realized that didn't work designating days. We just made the decision to work on each business, give every business its time.
Or she may handle one business and
Right.
I may handle another business. And so
and we have a shared calendar. By the way, we have a shared calendar.
Oh, so that's the system right there.
Together. Yes. So we're saying, well, you didn't put it on a calendar. How was I supposed to know? So we have our personal appointments, our business appointments separately, our business appointments together, all on the calendar. So as we're scheduling, we're not stepping over each other's schedule.
Okay, that's part of a system right there. You got to share calendars. So those of you that are in relationships. Oh, we got one here. Oh, Miss Cherry got a question. When things get stressful, who's more likely to say, let's take a break? And who's likely to say, nope, we're finishing this now?
August is definitely the let's take a break, and let's finish it now. No, definitely. So this is some perspective. When we are hurt as a woman, we normally get an attitude. When a man is hurt, he'll normally get angry. So that's just a little nugget. So if your man is coming to you and he's angry, he's hurt about something, typically. If I'm coming to you and I got an attitude about something, I'm hurt about something. Okay, so now that we know that that's usually the symptom of the problem, we've learned, take that break. Although I want to say, no, let's talk about this now. No, and it never ends well. That does not end well when we feel like we have to forcefully make a point. A lot of times, I just want to be heard. I just want you to say, I understand, I'm acknowledging what you're saying. But maybe in that moment, in the heat of the argument, most of the time, that's not the time where I'm going to get, I understand. Or vice versa.
she probably won't get it.
Right. I won't get it. So I've learned that although I want to say something, I'm telling you, Holy Spirit is like, don't say it, bite your tongue. That has been my obedience to listen to the voice of the Lord in those situations. To not say something right then and there has served our marriage well.
Because once you say it, you can't take it back.
It served our marriage. It has.
I mean, that's like somebody taking and carving "I hate you" on your chest. No matter you get plastic surgery, that scar's still there.
So we don't push. I don't push. Now, I may say things like, you should listen to your wife.
Yeah.
He knows that's code word. That's code word. What's the code word for? Listen to your wife is code word for.
Take a step back and say, "You got this."
So you guys got you're working with the tools. That's interesting. That shows your maturity and longevity in your relationship.
And in business, we could be in a meeting. I'm like, you should listen to your wife. People are like, what?
What is legacy? Okay, so we got another question.
Marvin got a question.
Yes.
My question, voice. What does legacy mean to y'all? And how does life insurance play a role in building it? Oh,
that's a very cool question.
Oh, Lord.
Okay,
so
life insurance is not our legacy. Now, and we are insurance agents, but we knew in 2015 when he asked me to join life insurance, and Auguste has been doing life insurance since 2004?
Yes, 2004.
Okay. When he asked me to join the life insurance, we knew it wasn't our legacy. That does not mean that it's not a great legacy to have, because we know so many insurance agents that is their legacy. Okay, having an agency. So, legacy to us, and I'm going to speak about what I pray about. Yes, it is generational wealth. We understand that is important, what we leave for our children's children. Okay. But I also want a legacy of Christ. I want my family to know that although we have X, Y, and Z, although my parents did this or my grandparents did this, we have a legacy of faith. We believe in Jesus Christ as our personal Savior. That is so extremely important, because I believe that only what you do for Christ will last. Okay? So life insurance for us plays a role with making sure, yes, our family's covered, we're covered. There's so many things. There's so many types of insurance, key man policies, regular life insurance. I mean, there's so many things that you can have set up that generates the wealth, that generates residual income. Okay.
Right. And so since I started life insurance, I was licensed in 2004. So basically I was doing this, long before I met Veonous. I started out with Prime America, after I got my license. And then I left them. Then I started my own financial company in Jersey with two other parties. So we were doing insurance, mortgages, and private banking in terms of contracts. I did contracts overseas in the U.S., so I was flying all over the place. So insurance to me is always a vital role, because insurance is something that I like to say our people don't know about. So I put the insurance as another legacy tool, because when you talking about legacy, I may pose this question back. Do you truly know what legacy is? Because legacy could be instilling values in your children. Legacy means instilling value in your grandchildren. Legacy means setting family values that they will have until 3-4 generations from now. So that is one form of legacy. Legacy means now you have acquired a sustained enough wealth that will surpass 3-4 generations. That means now you need to make X amount of income to support that. So now when you say legacy, now the question is, what are the tools you have set in place to create that legacy plan? And when you create that legacy plan, do you know how to protect that legacy plan? And I hate to bust people's bubble. It's not the trust that you hear. It's not this. These are all what you might say the whipped cream. But when you take away the whipped cream, now you get to the real meat of it, if I may use that, unless create a different analogy. But do you truly know about how to make your money grow? Do you truly know how to work debt? Do you truly know how to set up, a blind trust. You truly know how to set all these things, because you could set a legacy and you set it wrong, and you know, Big Brother comes and say, "Thank you very much for setting it wrong. Now I want my piece, and you have to pay me to get what's yours."
Mm. So legacy is not just money. You're
No, sir.
basically saying is money, skills, trait, family, stories. Well, we all have some sort of legacy. So life insurance per se, you're basically just telling everyone that is not my form of legacy. Your form of legacy is more cultural, spiritual, and then financial.
Right, because
Or
like
or
could- like
spiritual,
like
cultural,
you
and
could
then
have an agency, and you could pass it down, etc. But if the party that you pass it down don't know how to run the agency now, in less than 1 or 2 years, what's going to happen?
mm.
So we talk to our children about business. We talk to our children about business, not only a surface level. I mean, obviously it grows, but as we grow and we learn more, we actually have family meetings with our children, and have we're in the process of setting up a board where our children is the board for the family, and teaching them about generational wealth, but how to manage it.
Because one thing is to acquire it, the other thing is to keep it going, right? So
Absolutely correct.
that's a very good point. Well, Marvin got one more here. He said,
Yeah.
"Wow, I'm so intrigued. I'm not sure what WTBS means, but hey, last question. What's one lesson each of you has learned from the other through this wonderful journey of
Uh,
entrepreneurship and relationship?"
well, one thing I could say, that one thing I have learned, being married to Veonous, was basically, I've learned to be more cognizant and to put God first. Now, I was raised a Catholic and all that stuff, and I believe in it. But then now, I had talked about, with different people that I have spoken to, and also on TCO, is that if you don't know biblical principles, then you basically don't know the law. If you don't know the law, then you basically don't know how to apply biblical scriptures to actually make you financially wealthy. So I've learned that, and basically that I can say it has 10x, 1,000x where we are now. That we do have a financial legacy built in one of our companies that will sustain our family for the next 2 to 3 generations
Or more.
or more.
Right.
Yes.
I learned that, going back to an earlier statement that we said, I learned not to scream and yell to get my point across. Literal screaming at my kids, a literal, because I grew up in an environment where my mom was a yeller, and so a lot of times you pick up the habits. And August isn't a yeller, and he says you have to take a step back. And so that's one thing. Secondly, I learned that it's okay not to be in the background. So let's put that into perspective. I'm okay with being in the background. Not, and it's not be, and yes, I know I'm a natural born leader. I know people who look at me. I know I could talk about things. That's not what I'm referring to. But I don't necessarily have to be out front. I'm good with just kind of watching things happen and observing. And August says, no, you have to, you can't always hide because of hiding. The gifts that God has given you, don't hide. And that's the second thing. Third thing, I learned to not allow people to take advantage of my gift.
Because you know your gift.
He says, no, you're not charging enough. I understand that you may want to sow, but there's a cost. So he had me re-examine how I'm valuing my time and my skills as I'm providing those things to others.
Oh, okay. So he's giving you he's giving you a better definition of your value because you're willing to give it away. He's put a price on it. Like, no, people got to get it.
They're taking money from me, bro.
All right, we got another question here. How do you navigate the balance between meeting people where they are and staying rooted in your authentic self? Is it ever possible to inspire others to adjust their standards, or does adapting to theirs come at a cost of your own authenticity? My God, we got to bring out the dictionary. Let's go, coach.
Okay. First of all, I've said this before on the calls. I'm going to say it here. One of the greatest deliverance that God can give you is deliverance from people. What does that mean? You're not trying to please anybody. You're not comparing yourself to anyone. You're not in competition with another person. And as we know, that comes with a lot of maturity and time. We all go through different phases in life where we're trying to please somebody, or we think this person has it. Everybody, it comes in different forms. Okay. So now, once you're delivered from that, you realize that I'll say it this way. We're at the point now, even when our children, if you tell me 2 + 2 is 5, correct. I'm not proving you wrong. At this point, I'm like, if that's what you believe, okay. Our kids, for example, they're grown. We're not giving you advice to hurt you. We don't want anything from you but the best. You have the choice to take heed or not. Now, and we won't even come back and say, I told you so. Because they'll come back and say, you were right. It's like, oh, okay. Because everybody learns. Were we always like that? No. But that energy we feel that we are trying to expend to get somebody to grow, that takes a lot of energy from you. And these are usually grown people. This is not your children. Your children, you give them roots and wings. So you know what that takes when you have children, right? You got to do both. But we're talking about full-grown adults. I'm not fighting with you to prove I'm right. I don't even have to shine when I'm in your arena because I'm comfortable with who I am. So we're at the space now where we're not going to lose ourselves in order to meet you where you are. I'm going to be happy for you, whatever you have. You know what? I'm happy, and it's genuine. I'm happy for you. Okay. If you're not a person that's supposed to be in our circle and our orbit, or it's just for a season, I'm okay with letting you go.
So you're not meeting people where they're at. That's the balance. They're coming to you. It's simple.
Well, let me phrase it this way. My philosophy on that is, if this is where you want to stay, that's great. Mm-hmm. But I'm not going down to your standards. Now, I may subconsciously assist you, not knowing that I'm assisting you, and giving you different things to grasp and for you to come up to the conclusion, this is better. But at the same time, I will never lose myself to come to your standards, because that means now I am losing who I am. Mm-hmm. And I know my standards. I know my worth. So basically, I will never, come down to your level like, let's go meet me at a bar and let's get drunk together so me and you can bond. That will never happen.
Mm-hmm. And we just had a whole conversation with our 22-year-old, and we use him as an example because he's actually the son who still lives with us. Okay. And we had the conversation, what does loving people from a distance mean? It's not about time and space, because I can love you from a distance. So it's not about how often we see each other, how often we speak to each other. We're in 2 different states. We're not talking about physical distance. But if we're on 2 different pages and we have family members and friends, 2 different pages, I can love you from a distance. I'm okay with that. Hey, when I see you, hey, but are we breaking bread together? No.
just like in business.
Mhm.
We can be in business together. I can respect you, but doesn't mean I need to work with you.
I don't need to go to your house. You don't need to come to mine.
Right? I like to say, this is your sandcastle. This is my sandcastle.
I'm not going to tear your sandcastle down. Okay? Whatever you decide to do in your sandcastle, that's great. If before I'm going to tear yours down, I'm going to go start my own.
Got it. Oh man, I got a question for you along this journey, right? You said ups, downs, peaks, valleys. You said that at the beginning, right? I got one question. This will be my last question unless anybody else comes up, right? How do you handle failure and your financial setbacks as a team? All right. How do you handle that? And do those moments impact your personal bond? I feel like I just opened Pandora's box for the ending question.
All I can say is that if you never experience failure, then you will never know how to handle it. Like for me, I had money, I made money, I lost money. Have I had, $30,000, $50,000 in my bank account all at once from a job? Absolutely. Have I had $0 in my bank account? And I'm like, what happened? Absolutely. Do I pull out my hair when I had hair and say, what is going on? Absolutely. But then you got to now reflect and say to yourself, why is the up and down? Why is this the way it is? Because if it's the season, then you know something, that you must prepare for that. But at the same time, you must remember too that if you are making money, now you need to set some money aside. Because then if you don't, then when the times are lean, and I always get the scripture wrong, but what you're gonna have to survive when things goes left. Mm-hmm. So I would say that you have to be prepared and don't go crazy and don't start doing crazy stuff to make money, because now you don't have it, because now that's when you lose it, because you made that. No. You're absolutely correct.
Who's correct? Oh, you're talking about
No such thing as failure. No, you're absolutely correct. But what I mean by failure is that something you did wrong and it's not working correct. No, she's absolutely correct. There's no such thing as failure. But the point I'm saying that you learn from that, so that way you know how to handle it. Because if you never lost,
handle that as a couple, because you.
I'm going to say something.
Good.
You don't succeed in everything, so you can term it. I know you're saying it's no such thing as failure, but there are things you just don't succeed in.
Got it. Right?
Okay, so if we can establish that's what we mean by failure. You did not, this was not successful. You did not accomplish your goal in this area. This thing was not for you. Let me just say this. My definition of faith, yes, I know what Hebrews 11:1 says about faith, but my definition of faith is knowing in my inner knower that no matter what it looks like, and sometimes it looks bad, I know what God has promised. Right? So when my kids are acting crazy, but I know that God has said that they will be the men and women of God that God has ordained them to be. Even when they act crazy and they lose their mind, I still have faith that they're still going to be the men and women of God that He's ordained them to be. So in business.
So now when there's no money in the house, that's when I go, and let me talk about insurance quickly, right? Have I gone through a week or 2 weeks without writing a policy? Absolutely. When I go into a house and I go, I've been here an hour, and no, the answer is no. And I'm like, okay, now you go back, you sit in your car, oh my God, what did I do wrong, blah, blah, blah. You said, but you got to remember, it's all part of the process. Yeah. Right? That doesn't mean that you give up and go, this ain't for me, because it's a test to see how you handle temporarily setbacks. And then you go next week and you're like closing everybody that you meet. Now, let me take it away from insurance. Business. Have we signed multi-million-dollar contracts and waiting for the money to hit our bank account? Absolutely. And then we get a call, oh, you changed your mind. No, we have a signed contract. right? So let me give you a mindset very, very quickly because I know we're running out of time. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Did I tell them about 2016?
So, well, you got 1 minute.
So go ahead, fine.
No. Okay. So we were on the verge of selling our business, and everything was signed. Attorneys, all the shareholders signed off on selling the business. And we were trying to close insurance deals. We would go into people's home in 2017, and we would come out, and the attorney says, "Okay, would you agree on 50 million? Agree on 85 million?" And by the way, this particular business, it was for 200 million, right? They were going to buy it, not all cash, warrants, stock options, etc. But then we're like, "Are you sure you can't afford this $30 policy? $50, right?" When that did not close, that particular thing.
The mindset. Oh, by the way, just to show you how we were there, we put money down on a car. We wrote a check for a couple $1,000
on a house.
We put money down on a house, right? We're talking about like contract and all blah blah blah. I mean, you do what people do, knowing that your attorney says, "I see the money, and we're gonna get paid," right? And then all of a sudden, it flips. So we're talking about a mind warp that, you could just imagine. But right then there, like the Lord was saying, I'm showing you what's possible, but it's not time. Mm-hmm. Because if we would have sold that company, we're sitting with multi-million, it would not have allowed us to invent and create other opportunities. Yes. Because now we would have been comfortable sitting, on a yacht and going 3BP or us, right? So we had to literally understand that we had to take a step back and now, really sit down and go, okay, what was the lesson? What did we learn? And move forward. So to quickly talk about how we handle finances when things go south, I mean, Veonous is now, it flipped the script. She's like, hey, don't worry about it. Mm-hmm. It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen.
Me, I'm like, no.
And then I'm the stasher of money.
Yes, she stashes.
I stash money away.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yes,
I'm the safety. I got
it. Yeah, I am on a budget.
He said that with a face. Well, Veonous and Auguste, I want to say thank you, man, because it's hard to get you guys, and you guys came out here to bless us on Good Friday. I know. I mean, you called me to make sure because you got a time and you got to go to church, and I thank you. Much respect. Love it. Okay, we got one more comment here. It says, that was great. Congrats to both of you on your success. Can't wait to see what's coming in part 2. We are going to have to get that going. We're going to have a part 2 with you guys, and we're going to have very well-constructed questions regarding your business, though. So today we wanted to get to know you and how you handle and structure certain things. So I always have a little segment at the end saying, shameless plug. Give us a shameless plug. Plug in your business, what you do, where they can find you is on you. The time is yours, and then I'll close this out. Shameless plug time.
Okay. So first of all, thank you everyone for watching. We are very grateful. We don't take it for granted that you gave your time. So for my business, the JB Tremont LLC, TREMONT Tremont, at jbtremont.com, and my book is on Amazon under JB Tremont. He Loves You Not, a common sense guide to what not to do in relationship. So that's my plug for that particular business.
Shameless plug, Mr. Auguste.
Basically, since we're talking about finance, my name of my company, ATC Financial Services. Basically, proud.
Say that slow, man. Say it for the people in the back. You said that like you're Chinese.
I'm sorry.
Your accent's coming out?
Yes, my accent is coming out. Name of my company is ATC Financial Services. I'm a proud member and agent with TCO, right? And I believe that financial literacy is key. So it's my mission, it's my mandate to educate whoever I can, when I can, about financial literacy. You could make the money, but how do you handle it and how do you save it?
Mhm.
Beautifully said. I want to thank you guys once again. I want to thank everybody. We got up to 15 people watching. I want to really say thank you. A lot of people are watching back on playback. Now you know how to find Veonous and August. I mean, they're entrepreneurs, they're inventors. Look them up. 3BP, right?
INC, 3bpinc.com.
You go.
Yes, 3BP.
They're also inventors. Man, we got lawyers, we got people, financial advisors, we got everything. In these two, there's like 17 different businesses. You already know. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a great time. It's my honor, pleasure, and privilege to be with you guys here today. Thank you for coming out. Be blessed.
Thank you.
Thank you.